We'll actually start off with your background. So, first of all, I find this story very interesting. How did you get into MIT in 1969, I believe? And what were you studying before you discovered constructal law?
Well, the my brief history was huge luck or chance in life is described on Wikipedia by all sorts of people who write there. I never touched that thing. Um, in I lived my first 20 years in Romania. I was born in 1948, so I was raised during communism. The first 10 years were the dictatorship of the proletariat. I've seen the worst of that. My parents, both of them, had been disappeared. Uh, that's worse than being arrested and put somewhere that the family knows where to go find you and bring you an orange or something. They disappeared. And and so yes, I grew up in a house that was uh, not at all aligned with communism. They were victims of that, and but I grew up luckily right next to the sports fields of my city as a ball boy. As a little boy, I was the the helper of the team. Obviously, ball boy means you're a helper, but uh, basketball raised me. So I have a feel for not just the mechanics, the dynamics of hand and mind and collisions, balls, and everything like that on the, but also um, the pains that the body experiences while moving, but also while growing or lifting weights. And so I was raised as a basketball player. In school, I was in my work. I discovered I had aptitude in the mathematics, so I was also raised as a competitor in the mathematics Olympiads, and that was that would have been my career continuing, except that in by this time I was a player in 1968. I was also in the second year of my mechanical engineering studies in the city called Galați on the Danube at the entrance to the Delta. Um, that was the Prague Spring.
Right.
And at the time, the Romanian regime was very much sympathizing and supporting publicly Alexander Dubček in Czechoslovakia and experimenting with some forms of liberalization. And out of the blue was a mathematics contest for scholarships abroad in on the July 11, 1968. And I was invited to participate because as a student I had straight 10, meaning superlative grades. I aced the exam, and the prize for winning was they handed me one application form to MIT.
Just one?
One, yeah. I had no idea what it was. I had no idea. I read about MIT because of the Apollo missions and all that. But anyway, so I filled this thing out. It was a one sheet folded, a green sheet folded, had the four sides, filled it out. And I gave it to the Minister of Education in Bucharest. I'm the guy from the province, okay? And and then I waited until November or December to be admitted, and and I came to MIT in February 1969. Meanwhile, meanwhile, Prague was invaded by the Warsaw Pact, with the exception of Romania, on the 21st of August, 1968. Um, and Romania lived through a period of scare that the Soviets were going to do the same to Romania. They didn't. Um, and um, and then shortly after this, cracked the door to opportunity, meaning the door through which I leaked. They slammed the door shut.
So
So
you
this,
couldn't come back.
no, correct. Yeah. So I'm
Oh
a
wow, okay.
not that I wanted to come back.
Yeah.
But, and then the rest is history. The point is that at MIT, I discovered that uh, performing was a lot easier than in the schools through which I was raised. A lot easier. Not because the material was easy, but because the philosophy of teaching, in my case, mechanical engineering, was truly that, a philosophy. It was about ideas. It was not about grunt work or wasting time or gilding the lily. It was about one idea briefly to be enjoyed and then moving on to the next. There was actually the history of engineering being uh, put on display by professors who are erudites.
Right.
They are not knuckleheads. Many of them were immigrants from Europe, West, but especially East, people who ran to freedom right after the war. Some of them ran to freedom before the war. And MIT was, when I arrived, I was surprised, was a population, a highly diverse population in every way, language, race, highly diverse, naturally congregated based on talent. And they were truly inspiring, truly inspiring. I have my notebooks from that era are here on the floor. I don't know whether you can see on the floor down there.
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
you see MIT notebook there? I have a whole stack of shit, MIT there.
Yeah, you can see the aging papers, right? Because they're all yellow now.
Right here.
Yeah, don't knock over your setup. Oh wow.
See it? Anyway,
That's pretty cool. Thank you for showing
uh,
that.
the best part is that I flipped through my notes from 69 to 76. I was there 8 years getting all my degrees. And and I think that my story is important for this reason that here comes the player, okay, basketball player, but instead of basketball, I played on this new court of 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 people interested in having fun with ideas. Um, yeah, they were actually doing stuff similar to what I'm doing today. They were doing it in their own way. They're completely unconstipated. Every single person that was teaching there was uh, not walking down the corridor looking sad or gloomy or as if the weight of the world was crashing on him or her. Uh, they were really, it would be impossible today. They were smoking pipe. They were playing the banjo. No, wait, no, no. They were drinking whiskey when they would have a happy hour. They're doing stuff that you see in Hollywood movies from a long time ago. Um, the corridors smell like the perfumed tobacco from those pipes, uh,
Yes.
and everything was clean. Of course, everything was clean. Everybody was polite. Most of the professors, even the immigrants, had fought in the war.
That's
Yeah,
true. That's true.
uh, yeah, and they were telling stories about their experience in the Navy or in the Army. Um, my own professor of heat transfer had been a classmate of Jimmy Doolittle, the one who bombed Tokyo, and
Wow.
we're talking about him. Yeah. So Robert, history taking not only shape but cohesiveness in my mind because
Mm,
coming from Eastern Europe, I knew nothing about Americans at war. Um,
right.
Under communism, the only history of the war was one line in the text, which was the war was won by the Red Army without anybody's help. You see, that was the big lie of communism. One lie among many. But when it comes to communism, the Soviet Union was so unbeatable that it won the Second War by itself.
According to itself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but they had the power to write the history book and all the other books and the movies. The movies were all about that. You do not see a movie about the Battle of the Bulge or the débarquement at in Normandy. You didn't see that. Uh, they did not exist. My parents at home would talk about these things, but not in school. So, well. Anyway, so that was the beginning. So I got at MIT the topic that attracted me, which was idea based and very succinct, was thermodynamics, which is the science of power. And the word thermodynamics captures that beautifully because therme means heating, and uh, and the heating comes from a source of energy called fuel or food in the belly of the beast. And then dynamics is dynamis in Greek. Back then, old Greek, it meant the obvious um, force or power or ability to set things in motion. And that's what it is. You have a fuel, you have motion, except that between the fuel and the motion, you must have a flow architecture called engine, engine or motor. And of course, uh, places that do not teach thermodynamics the way I got it um, focus on the motor uh, or the engine and not on everything. I just I began with the everything. The fact that first you have to have fuel or food. You need fire, and then the result of that uh, naturally is movement, because this engine is most of the engines are uh, natural. The natural convection in my room here is a wheel driven by heating from one side and by cooling from the other side. Is the same with the natural circulation on the globe, atmospheric or oceanic. The Earth is an engine. You want some power, then you stick a windmill in the middle of the wind and you'll get some power. But that is you. This Earth engine has been uh, churning its juice thanks to its wheels forever. And yes, and by the way, I'm not going to tell you huge ideas next, but if you get this idea, you know where to look in the universe for extraterrestrial life. Yeah,
I how
yeah.
I don't follow. I'm sorry.
Okay, you're not going to find extraterrestrial life on the moon because you don't have these wheels that move around like this, you know.
Hmm.
Uh, uh, these things that that turn and churn are actually mixing the trash, okay? Just mixing it and mixing it. And sometimes that mixing puts puts whatever small things together. You call them molecules, and and that's how impossible to imagine happens. You know, through mixing the
Okay.
new the new the new, let's call it, blueprint for something. In this case, in the case on Earth, it was um, life or biological entities. In the beginning, very, very, very tiny. Um, you see. So anyway, I got how should I say, I I distracted myself. Um, so I fell in love with this subject as a researcher. As a researcher, teaching is easy if you have ideas. The real let's call it uh, the meat and the sausage is to think new ideas in a particular direction, and then those ideas, the research becomes the new lecture, the new topic in your course.
Right.
If you're fortunate to be in a in an institution where the students are gifted, and Duke is one of them, then reverberations from the students add to this mixing chamber or this boxing match of idea from me, ideas from them, and then the next time I teach, I have even more to tell them. That's people would say out of the box. Um, and I joke that the future when it comes to science is not to think out of the box. It's actually to think in the box and to keep asking yourself uh, whether what you said yesterday was true. Uh, and uh, and to have the humility to say, hey, Adrian, you know what? Uh, Today I could actually say it better. And or today I could be smarter and not repeat what I said yesterday, you see?